This week's featured car is brought to you by McGuire's.
Right, my name is Noel, and this is my 1933 Ford Roadster. We started with Deuce Customs body. Got that off John Reed, as well as the chassis, so John Reed chassis originally. A lot of subtle modifications on the body, a bit of fiberglass body. We just sort of went through the whole thing, just cleaned up little bits and pieces, and then had John Keys from Tauranga do an aluminium hood, and also did the louvered sides.
The body mods might be subtle, but there's a heap of them. The top of the doors were rolled, as was the rear pan. The parcel tray was shifted to move the seats back further, and the dash replaced with a 32 style unit. A 33 Ford insert was chosen, and Noel opted for a Duval screen. Rocket Speed Equipment modified the Reed-supplied front end to sit into the chassis and drop the nose of the car. While they were there, the frame horns were modded at both ends to flow with the shape of the body.
Once the body was done, like a lot of the fiberglassing work was completed, we mocked up the whole car at Rocket Speed Equipment, and then it went back to John Key, and John basically went over the entire car, just smoothed it all out, just went over every panel, got everything straight before going to Clint Davies at Elite Auto Painters, and then Clint sort of pulled the car apart and basically started painting it, and it was there for about 3 or 4 months. It's a 5 mix colour, and actually the base is actually green, so it's, I think quantity-wise, there's more green in the paint than what there is actually gold. To go with the theme of the car, and that 60s sort of theme again, a lot of the 60s cars, pearl white tuck and roll. So I wanted to go the white tuck and roll once again with the gold. Sets it off, and we've just painted the firewall white as well to match it. Originally I wanted to put a big block Ford in it, but the motor we were looking at was about 120 mils too long for this body. It's sort of got a recessed firewall, but to fit the big block Ford in, it was going to be too long, so that just opened up a whole sort of raft of problems. We had to either chop the firewall, start shifting this back. So big block Chev was the direction we went in. It's a 468, it just runs oval port heads. It was built by Rocket Speed Equipment as well. We've got a single plane Team G wheel manifold on it, 750 double pumper, it runs a solid cam, it runs forged pistons.
The motor was built to the same specs as Jeff Klein's low 10 second setup in his Roadster. Dyno tuning the freshly run-in big block has proven a challenge. Getting the power onto the rollers was the problem, but the last effort, the mixture setup saw 250 kilowatts at the treads and 300 newton meters of torque at only 2,900 RPM. Noel is confident 400 horsepower at the wheels shouldn't be a stretch.
Weighs a reasonable bit, being a fully boxed chassis, and the glass body weighs quite a bit, but it still develops some serious power. We can kick this thing out sideways about 60, 70 k's an hour. Just by chopping it down a couple of gears and just jumping on it, it will step out on you.
Roadster has taken everything Noel has thrown at it, including rain and river crossings.
Definitely built it to drive it. I didn't really see any purpose in building a car and have it sitting in the garage. It's one of the joys of owning these cars is driving them. I mean, it looks good to look at it, but to drive it, it's another whole realm to the car. Incredibly wrapped. There's often times where you sort of sit there and you sort of look at the car, or you see the car, you haven't seen it, and you sort of forget that it's yours. It's quite cool to go out into the garage and have this car sitting in the garage where it's there. So I'm just sort of wrapped the work that Rocket have put into it and what they've created, and been able to work with those guys and create a car that is basically this good.